What's up, guys and gals, for another chapter review of Strike It Rich, chapter 54. And though I wasn't a fan of the last chapter, the last couple of chapters, each one sort of got on my nerves for different reasons. In all honesty, this is a chapter. Chapter 54 has got my... You had my curiosity. And now you've got my goddamn attention because, yeah, every part of this chapter was like, okay, there's stuff to talk about. So at the very beginning, we know that we got another I'm absolutely nuts sort of character, which once again, I was like, really? Another one that all went away due to the fact that we're not just setting up one new match. No. We'll get into it. But we have Ichika there immediately on the phone, and she's like, fuck yeah! Woo, baby! And stuff like that. And it's like, all right, calm down. I mean, I appreciate you, Shark Teeth, but what's going on here? And, they're all saying the same thing. And it says, relax. I am totally 100% sober. You're going to lose this. I just got permission. I needed to tack on another match to tonight's show, baby. Because, of course, the prison released it. So, once again, manipulation, but also connection. So it's all a big circle. It's like, remember those old, comparison circles? I forget what they're exactly called, but you know what I mean? It's like you got blue and red, and then you sort of combine them, and here's the stuff, the compromise in the middle sort of idea. Everything's purple. It's sort of like three circles of plot going on here right now. We have the main overall plot of the Star Children, right? Then we have our main characters just trying to, start up Valkyria and make a good fighting ring and stuff like that. And we have their own, our main character stuff. And then there's a third circle of little side plots, with the mafia stuff and, the police black book and the prison and stuff. So all these things sort of slowly adding up, right? And other venues and things like that. Any connections to Kengan verse and stuff. So we have like three circles sort of overlapping slightly to each other. And this chapter is sort of showcasing that from Chica's perspective, this was like, yes, I'm glad we finally got the approval of this, because she has the black book, which the 8-star was impressed by. That there's somebody there who knows how to get shit done, and it's Chica, right? And so she is there's no awareness from any of them that this is all orchestrated, but it still fits their narrative, so it's kind of like, all right, it's almost... Yeah, I just like that. I really like that overlapping. It's like, well, they wanted this. They thought it was due to their underhanded shit, but actually there's the other plot thread that is actually doing underhanded shit that meets with that underhanded shit, which is part of this one's plan, but it's also going to be part of this one's, and it's just layers. It's layers. It's like an ogre. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers, right? You know what I'm saying? So, let's go. I actually haven't seen Shrek in a long time. I should probably watch Shrek again. That is a good movie. Anyways, so we get the crazy one, with the mask on her and all that stuff, like, and say hello to a guest from that special, file of psycho criminals and stuff like that. And this is, we also meet another new fighter as well, but this one is Kuno Suzumi, and she's convicted of murder. And it's like, okay, so a murder on the docket just like that. Sturdy, and she can fight. The prisoners in that special file are all being held at this specific woman's prison, and it doesn't actually officially exist on paper. That's why I keep calling it like the black book that she got a hold of, the black book of these terrible criminals. So they, for whatever reason, the bandos of the world and stuff like that, right? So we've seen this before, and it works, right? So she beat 4 people to death completely unarmed and stuff like that, but they were Yakuza. So she was spared from the death penalty, probably because they want someone to take her out or do something. Anyways, so Nozomi is a little like, about this whole situation. She's like, I know we need like crazy bitches and we need like crazy like fucking fighters and shit like that, but maybe we're in it a little over our heads here. Like when it was Matsudo and the Kengan Association, it's been around for centuries. It's all good. It's all gravy, but. This is a new event, and they're sort of, if they get too big, too quickly, things will get spiral out of control. So she's just being she's not being passive, she's just concerned, you know what I mean? She's not being naive about the whole situation, So, but she said, like, good things come in too, because now, the one that shows up, and she's got the doom aura and stuff like that. Like, might I thank you with a death and stuff like that. So another one, another special file who is a criminal at large. She wasn't actually in the prison. She's actually officially a criminal at large. Kawamichi Mashiro here. And she gives me very much assassin, poison ivy, the mistress of death vibes and stuff like that. Like, she is very obviously like Black Widow, you know, poisons, toxins. Oh, the last little bit when your life, I love to hear the screams and the death rattle and all that. Like, she's giving me that very like, bitch is nuts, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely, like, this is somebody who back in the day ran like a Tumblr blog that was all just the freakiest, like, needles into the eye, like, gifs and like dark shit and everything from every horror movie ever, and they would just be like, oh, this is my blog. She ran one of those, you know what I'm saying? Like those blogs you come across, like, okay, they're a little gothy, yeah, wearing a scream mask and stuff, and then it's literally like borderline or just straight up back then, before the ban and stuff, torture porn. You know what I mean? Like straight up just torture porn. That's this bitch's blog. You know, 100%. That's, if Instagram allowed it, she would post it. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, never been on Instagram actually. Like, I know what it is, but I never had an Instagram. But anyways, used to have a Facebook, don't anymore. But yeah, they're absolutely terrified. Like, she's giving off that, like, that aura, kind of reminding me, and I don't want to give her too much hype, kind of reminded me of when Unohana finally dropped her braids and went back to being the first Kenpachi in Bleach. Kubo's panels was like, ugh, like, this bitch is scary. Like, she's scaring me. She was always giving off that, oh, please, do as I say. And no, please do as I say. Okay. But then he started getting into that horror element with her during the 1,000-Year Blood War arc and stuff. And, yeah, giving me the same sort of heebie-jeebies, as it were. And they're feeling the shudder. And I think what reminds me of that is just the spiritual pressure, boom, rain on Anne and the Yakuza girl. I'm so bad with the names of these characters. I'm so bad with that shit. But yeah, so anyways, so they're like, all right, so you signed the request papers. Do note that our loaning her to you is valid for today only and stuff like that. And they're like, so what did she do exactly? And they're like, well, we can't actually go into details of that. She's just a vicious killer that has taken many lives. That's all we can tell you. As you requested, Valkyria, for this, she is entirely capable of putting up a fight. She was apprehended in hiding just the other day. So technically, she hasn't been processed yet. So she was captured. She was a criminal at large. She was captured just 24 hours ago and stuff. But maybe that was all part of her plan. So because they're watching and they're seeing that the old woman with this old woman who's like, looks more like a mafia like lieutenant sort of idea in the shades, has some type of camera around her collar and stuff. And Anne notices this, like, is she with the police or what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, it's not on the up and up, you know? If she's with the police, it's a cover and she's a Yakuza lieutenant, you know what I mean? Anyway, so yeah, there's just so much to talk about this chapter because there's just a lot of details going with these two new characters. And the fact is, normally I'd be like, okay, yeah, whatever, like, we've seen these sort of tropes before, but what's got me so pumped, what's got me so excited is that we had all the layers building up on this. And then we get to the main thing, and we're jumping right into the fight. It's not like, okay, we got these people, we should set this up for next weekend, and there's, like, more waiting time. No, we're not doing any more waiting. The event is fucking tonight. Seats are already filled. Let's go. And he said, and Ichika's already set up and saying, yeah, our especially brutal fighters, you know, we're all good and stuff like that. We can out the fights cards of the day and stuff, and it's ready to go. So they said, we don't even know how strong these twos are, so this can be a test run. We'll match the criminals up against each other, and if either one of them seems worthwhile, we can put in a rental request for more shows. Realistically, Nozomi is absolutely right. And it's like, and then none of my actual fighters, who are, half crazy as well, but none of my actual fighters will technically get hurt, right? Like, if they end up, like, killing each other in the ring or whatever, it's like, well, what's the big loss? They were both criminals. They were both nuts anyways. What's the big deal? From Nozomi as a business perspective, this makes sense. However, Lee and Riku's back. Riku, my favorite fighter. Riku is back. Sina Riku, the best of the two sisters. She's finally back, and she's ready to kick some tail. So, yeah. Either way, I was just like, yeah, they show up and they're just like, well, violent criminals, that sounds really exciting, and they're both like, we both want to fight the criminals, whatever. They're absolutely toast and stuff like that. They say, no, you two, you should absolutely not. That's way too dangerous for you two. And then Nozomi, being the businesswoman that she is, she initially was on the right path, but then she completely agreed to their request with no drawback. And it was like, okay, why did you flip the switch? You're flipping the script so easily. Like, you folded way too quickly. What's the game here? Nozomi says, you two are of our stars. You both have a lot of fans. So fighting off invaders is sure to get people hyped. Just don't get too banged up. So Nozomi is sweating about this. But she recognizes that putting two newbies in the ring against each other isn't going to draw as much attention. However, bringing in two dangerous criminals, first-time matchups, and they're fighting the two of the stars of Valkyria and fighting off. It's very much WWE shit. You know what I mean? Like, we're the stars of the ring. Who the hell are you? Time to show you what and that would hype up fans. You know what I mean? And it's very quickly to have a big fan base. And Nozomi already recognizes you two both have a lot of fans already. So you two fighting anyone dangerous is immediately going to bring these fights back up a notch. It's good for us. It's good for business. It's good for popularity. But she's not very happy about the decision. But it's a business decision. I was like, okay. At first I thought she folded quickly. But it makes a lot of sense. And I'm like, all right. Good writing here. Let's fucking go. And that settles it. Ichika's all set to go. And I'm like, please let Ichika fight. I want to see her fight again. Stuff. But no. We have the first match. It's the older sister. It's Riko versus Akina. I'm like, all right. That looks interesting. Like that should be a good matchup and stuff. And then we have Honoka, who we've seen before, versus Mio, who once again, Mio did a decent job. She just had a poor matchup, unfortunately, and stuff. I'm going to take, I'll go through it. So I really do think that Akina beats I'm going to go with the sisters both winning. I'm going to go with Riko winning, but really, really close. I'm going to go with Mio winning against Honoka, relatively mid-diff. And then we have, I don't believe I know this person yet, Asami, Kikawa Asami. Do we know this person? The one with the mohawk? I don't believe so. But that's against Hina. Hina's the obvious pick there. Then we have Mashiro, the new, the deadly criminal at large, versus Lee. I got Mashiro for this one. I really do. I think she wins out of the two criminals. And then, of course, for the fifth match, the final match, I'm not going with new crazy girl. I'm going with Riku. I think the Suzumi woman beats Riku down like with an inch of her life, but Riku wins in the end. I'm thinking, depending on the way they want to go with this, I'm thinking Okoya versus Cosmo. Level of brutality that happens here. But Riku wins in the end. Gotta have my favorite fighter win. I'm never going to bet against my favorite fighter. I'm just not. Unless she goes up against Tina, then I just know it's not going to happen. But doesn't stop me from, hoping. The only one that I'm questioning over all of these ones, like, it's possible. Of course, Riku could lose, but I'm just not seeing it yet. We know nothing about this fighter. I think that one of the new introduced characters has to win. So I'm gonna go, and where we still have Hina in the mix, I'm gonna say that Asami can't win. So I'm gonna go with our newly introduced deadly assassin woman against Lee. And then once again, I think Mio needs a win. In all honesty, that one's a toss-up really, but I don't know. The first match is the one that I'm like, I really can see that go either way. I can see that one go completely either way. Only maybe because I'm biased and I've got Riku winning in the 5th match. So I don't think that both sisters won't win again, you know. I don't know. But what are your guys' predictions? Maybe I'll make a separate video on that one, and I'll put my predictions in a quick separate, like, you know, a 10-minute video or something like that, and we can just track the progress on that one. I know it's not tournament style or whatever like that, but we can maybe if I have time. Probably won't have time for it, but we'll see. Because I did just give all my predictions right here, so, you know, I don't think there's a whole lot to analyze necessarily, so maybe not, but yeah. So Ichika's the one hyped up over this. She's got her shark teeth wide open, and she's like, oh yeah, our army's getting meaner and meaner. Knock these scum-sucking criminals out and make us some cash, baby. Let's go. And she's all, you know, getting right into it and stuff like that. And Nozomi is just like, you know, Yuzuha and Riku can handle themselves. I know they can, so why can't I just shake this really bad feeling, you know, and stuff like that. And you have to understand, she didn't want to do it. Like, that's what she did. She knows it's good for business, and she's not going to insult their pride by saying, no, you guys can't handle these unknowns. But she's still got a bad feeling about this, very Harrison Ford style, and I don't blame her on that one. Now, this is where the policewoman has, once again, the camera, and she's showcasing it to the 8th star. Of course it was. I was gonna theorize about that, and then it was revealed to us anyways, so I was just like, by the time I finished the chapter, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, it was one of the obvious ones, but yeah, and they just said, what a rotten way to die and stuff, so now the 8th star, Sasaki Chiryo, there, is like, she's like, oh wow, we get this high-def video, so go on, entertain me, and stuff, and I'm just like, okay, she nuts and stuff. But yeah, I just love this chapter has a bit of almost everything we love about Kengan-esque verse, because we've got the multi-layered plot elements going on. We're setting up some really interesting matchups, and not just one simple fight, or like last time with the tag team maid outfit gag fight. No. We're setting up some actual fights that are gonna be good. They're gonna be really well drawn, and it's gonna go fight to fight to fight. And once again, like, we're back to our main characters and stuff like that. We're not completely just following the, you know, the Bloody Monday storyline and stuff like that. And which, once again, is still good and stuff, but, you know, when you focus too hard on just one aspect, when you've got multiple, as I said, like, multiple rings going on in your story with different story bits that can overlap, but once again can't be completely the same thing. It's nice to sort of, like, if you had a needle point or a clock, you know, you just slowly, like, turn, and you just keep, you know, and you do that, like, every so often and stuff like that. It's like, okay, so we're focusing on this, and then, oh, by the way, this is overlapping, but now we're focusing on this aspect, and now we're overlapping here, and you're just going through that. And to do that throughout multiple, just in like 20 pages, you know what I mean, of a chapter, is really good. It's really interesting and stuff like that. So it definitely kept me on the hook. Each page mattered, each panel mattered, each piece of dialogue is relevant. I just thought it was a really well-structured chapter, and it hypes me up for these fights. I like that they got the fight cards in to make me more hyped to know, okay, we're throwing down who's versus who and stuff like that. Sometimes it's nice to be like, who is going to fight who, but I like that we know it. I like that we've been given our menu, and now we know what's on the docket, and, you know. So, anyways, yeah. Who do you have winning the 5 fights? You know, what do you guys think? Once again, we don't have as much information about some people. I think everybody's going to pick up on Hina. I wouldn't mind putting a upset that Hina loses That would be interesting because we know nothing really about this other person, but I just don't see it happening quite yet. Hina's eventually going to lose, but I don't think she's losing quite yet. You know what I mean? But we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, what did you guys think of the chapter? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys back here for chapter 55 of Star Strike It Rich. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Have a good one. See ya.